it's going to sweep 57, like high 57s, mid 57, and revert back up somewhere. I don't know when. So, anyways, the low was at 57.7, and we're now sitting around 63, and we even hit 64 almost at one point. So, what do you know? The Bitfinex whale's right again. What a fucking surprise. It's almost like the asset's mechanical, or there's some insider ways to trade it, and ways that aren't insider trading, but are really easy to see that aren't necessarily just seen in basic trading. Anyways, so the asset, yeah, went up. What a surprise, and it's up quite a bit. So, we're gonna get real gay and real in depth here. We're gonna start off with Bitcoin today because I'm feeling that. But first, let me shout out all the longs real quick. Let's oh sorry, let me shout out all the people who scalp long with me. Alright, anyway, so enough of that shit. Guys, gay pride month's over. We're done being a gay bear. What's fucking going on? Oh, what a beautiful day it's been. It's been nice and blue sky, sunny, and it's been good in the casino lately, right? Okay, so we got lots to get gay and talk about. Let me take a sip of water. So, as expected, Bitcoin bounced from the cycle low VWAP. Crazy, unbelievable. What a surprise. So, we got to talk about a couple things, though. We're going to start with the weekly. Where is our weekly WAP? At around 60.5, 60.5. Top of the bands here, sitting around 61.9. We'll call it 62 if we want to round shit. So, this is interesting to me, because if you think about where the previous monthly is, it's sitting right here at 62.8, and the top of the bands are right about 65. And we did just close the weekly above this, which is good. We're going to have a lot of talk about TPO as well. Yeah, okay, so that's interesting here. We're actually trying to reclaim the previous monthly right now, which is really interesting. And so far, the trend's up. There's nothing really to do here. What I'd be curious to see is how well this move sustains here through to the like in the real trading hours. I'd be curious to see, like, not just through a weekend, how structurally strong this is. But I think real interesting spots to stay really are just above 61.5, maybe 62 if you want to call it that. And we'll get into that more in a little bit here. I want to talk about this real quick, order flow. What happened? If you guys remember last video, I literally said, watch for big white walls here, big white walls, to come in and support price. And today we got a fat one that's still actually active here at about 62.6. And this is over 200 mil in size. That's a big boy right there. A couple of big boys. And sure enough, God, real quick, MMT, why did you guys release V5 if it's leggy as shit like this and half the shit doesn't even fucking work properly? Regardless of what I'm trying to get at, is multiple big walls here came in to help support price up. As well as even on spot, we have a couple baby ones. But this big guy at 60 has been sitting here as well over the weekend. So, long story short, this is very, very healthy. And what we can see, actually... What the fuck is going on here? Okay, the passive book here, I'd actually... Like order book depth, I'd really like this to improve while we're at these highs. Just, God forbid there's someone that wants to sell. There'd be more boys to step in here. But CVD itself is up. Like, this was a CVD-driven move. And I'd actually argue... Oh, of course, we have... MMT just lagging being gay on video. I just paid fucking $500 for a year of this shit, and she's being stupid. Anyways, open interest, you can't even tell if it's real or not. I have 9 things selected. We don't even know what the fuck's going on here. Regardless, it's a spot-driven move, so this is good. It's not just long purpose, it's actually spot-driven, which you want to see. That's healthy. So this is actually a healthy squeeze. Current month, a little bit hard to see, but I guess right now we'd really want to stay above it, or at least hold above the actual VWAP here at 61.2. Quarterly, that's not going to be enough, so we need to look at previous quarter. Previous quarter, I want to see acceptance stay into this here, and if we can target up and rotate higher into the actual VWAP itself, be very healthy. That's kind of confluent with the yearly, where if we can get back into the previous quarter plus back into the yearly WAP here, that's huge. Right now, we're kind of struggling to get back into it. That's okay. It's very early in the month, very early in the quarter. But this is about the time of the year. You know, every Bitcoin July in a midterm year has been bullish. And we highlighted that in last week's episode. If you guys didn't see that, go back and watch it. Very important episode. I would be watching for that, okay? 2024 WAP, confluent with the cycle low WAP. We're still in it. That's all the way up here at 77. That's a ways away, but we're still trading within it. It's pretty normal. Nothing much really for me to say. We did flip the 90 and we did flip the 30 and the 7. The 90 is still way up here. 90 is still flirting right with the previous quarter. That's interesting. Well, that makes sense because, anyways, but that's cool. That's a potential target. This will probably come rotate down into 68 or 69 over the coming weeks. But so far, so good. Like flipping the 90 and 30, closing above it like that, that's very important. So, I think that's all I want to talk about from the VWAP stuff. I just want to see the previous quarter and the previous monthly first start to get strong acceptance higher. That's really what I want to see, and testing it this early is, I mean, it's kind of good, but there's problems kind of elsewhere, like in the SPX that we're going to have to talk about later in the video. But my target for this rally, I actually don't want to see any pullbacks lower. And the reason I say that is we just went through a massive sell-off. Like we just went from this here, 30% sell-off. I think actually back testing this too early, we'd probably send lower. I mean, guys, you just swept this old value. You bottom tier, bottom tier, bottom tier, bottom tier. I don't want to pull back hard. If we're going to pull back, I want to stay above 61.5, personally. Okay? That's my target. We can combine this weekly here. This is fine. I'm fine to do that. Looks good to me. So what we'll do is I'm just going to remove this. This is all good. So this 2-week stuff here, this is actually this composite here. This is what I'm primarily focused on now. So we have some imbalances in here to fill still, which is fine. We're kind of already doing that actually. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this here. Okay. So that's our new 2-week composite here. Not bad. Yeah, like, I don't know. We pretty much, like, this used to be just the 1 week. We pretty much just bounced off the 1 week and then just pushed higher. But we closed all above all those old point of controls. Now we have combined composite. Closed above, like, even the value are high. Flip the 30, flip 7. The trend's bullish. The trend's bullish. As long as you aren't, like, sending below this and you're not sending below this. I mean, I could see a fake out like this maybe. That'd be nice. But as long as you're above this, great. I just don't want to accept back into this too hard and lose 30-day and 7-day trend. I'll be honest, something tells me this just keeps going for now. Pullback's healthy, whatever. Great, we'll look on the daily in a second. So this is the previous June monthly TPO, which is pretty interesting. So obviously we traded pretty much within it, kind of below the point of control of it for the whole month. But we also kind of started this new month out here off the lows of those weeklies, and now pushing back into to kind of fill anything in here, but also maybe trend out of it. I have a feeling this will be mergeable next month. Personally, I think we could actually make a 2-month composite out of this. Nothing really stands out for me here too much on it, other than this big single print up here that we've talked about a couple of videos ago. This is a big target, I think, that will get filled this month, personally, because July is usually a bullish month, and if it's anything like 2018, it will sweep this. And you kind of just see structurally it's pretty thin through here. Like, that's why the single print's there. But so far, this is pretty bang on what you want to see. It looks like this monthly point of control in the new month here is kind of just where we've been consolidating over the weekend and holding. It's still too early on in the month to kind of exactly see what's going on, but we're right bullish off the lows. That's really all there is to it. Lots of places we can afford a pullback. Let's go down to the daily. So this is good here. We had this huge composite here, lost it, swept the value area low of the previous week, and we bounced up from it, right? So we got a 2-day here. Like, I think this is a 5-day. We're just trending higher here. These two we can actually merge. So this composite here, actually, low-key, like, this would be a great spot here, kind of what I was saying earlier, is if we have to accidentally sweep below this value area high to kind of bounce from, I'd be happy with that. 2-week point of control here, still above 60K. I don't think this gets swept, personally, this low. I don't think this will get swept this low, at least for a few days. if we're going to sweep this low, I'm going to go on a whim here and say maybe the 60s. If there's anything like 2018, which this whole fucking downtrend has been, we're bouncing off of here right now. And we're going to come up and probably going to sweep 68.5, if I had to guess. And then we're going to come back down, sweep low 60s, push back up, and target higher. I don't think we're going to 85 like this is 8,500. I think this, because what? This is just 200-day EMA, I think. SMA, pardon me. Yeah, blue being the 200. Yeah, we'd probably come sweep this late July, right? That's probably confluent with cycle high VWAP as well, I'm going to assume. Not quite, but you do come into the bottom of it. Okay, so 200-day moving average, we'll call it. Where is that currently? Sitting at 74. It'll probably pull down later this month. Where's all-time high VWAP? We'd come in, I think, sweep the lower part of that, set a lower high. That would make a lot of sense to me personally. I think that is very much plausible. Yep, I'm gonna go on a whim. I think that's very hilarious. We bottomed damn near the same dates as we did in 2018. That's my best guess. I don't know. I think we're gonna come in and sweep this and set a lower high somewhere under this structure. But I think 68 to fill that large single print that's been hanging around. It's probably possible. Right at 90-day VWAP. Oof, I like that. I like that a lot. But the trend's up. Don't fight it. We're filling these single prints like no tomorrow. We got a spot squeeze going on. We'll see what the new Trump accounts that have just been launched, if they have any factor in the markets or not. But so far, so good. There's really not much I want to say. There's no short I want to take down here. After a big sell-off and you formed nice composites down here, there's no short in here I want to take. None. I want to see proper exhaustion and failed follow-through. That's what I want to see. So far, so good. We should to see during real trading hours, not on a low liquidity, low volume weekend. Even though we got a really nice squeeze there, we want to see continuation. That's what we want to see, okay? Another thing to add to that real quick, just for BTC, I don't want to talk about this too much longer. Bitfinex long rate, rounded off quite nicely. Rounded off quite nicely. And we know what happens when that happens. Usually you get a nice pump in the chart. So if these boys aren't swapping longs, they're not risking. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I want to give it a few more days to really make a thing. I think next week episode we'll check back in with that and really see what's going on. But so far, everything according to plan. No complaints out of me. This is exactly what you want to see on the big bitch. Okay, that's enough of that, I think. I think that's enough of that. On the SPX, shortened trading week for it, but we did close above weekly VWAP, which is good. Quarterly, previous quarter, stayed above that the whole time. That's exactly what we wanted. 50 EMA held the support. I was right. I said we're probably going to touch this and bounce, and we went higher. So good job to everyone there fearing over the dollar there, slightly breaking out, which wasn't even a fucking real breakout. Good job to everyone there being fearful when you haven't lost this. Yeah, it separates the big boys from the little dogs. Yearly, still holding above that. 2024, it's really not a factor on this type of thing. Current month, not really going to show us much. How about previous monthly? Previous monthly, pretty much closed the session right at the top of it. Held above it as well. Nice little retest there on the Wednesday session. Trend's still up. Trend ain't broken. Might have finished a little bit flat, but overall candle structure still continued higher, regardless if we're in a downtrend from here. I would like to see us clear kind of this structure here. Or I guess this is kind of what I'd call a neckline. We did close above it. I don't know. The trend's up. The trend's up. That's all I could say. Futures are up as well. Yeah, even on the Friday session when, you know, markets were closed, futures were open, still continue higher, still opening higher here, probably going to open higher tomorrow, maybe even unchanged. So the trend's up, honestly. You know, there's nothing you can really do. If anything, we're just getting kind of bull flag consolidation. Now, if we want to get a little more in-depth with this, I explained this last week. We are inside of the VWAP from the low, which is sort of bearish, but we also have no break of structure yet and no EMA cross, nothing like that. Again, bear market, you're gonna see lower highs and higher low, or sorry, lower highs and lower lows, right? It's gonna consolidate and break down, and you're gonna lose this 50 EMA if you're gonna go into a bear. Not yet, and I've been saying it's not gonna be yet, and rightfully so. What I would like to just show real quick here. Breadth is getting a little overextended. CSEO might flash a sell signal here soon, and we already got one warning back here. So if I had to think July usually is decently bullish. Trump accounts are going live. I have a feeling they're going to do something with the futures contracts in that again. I would not be surprised if we saw some weird upside squeeze. But there's problems elsewhere. So I wrote this nice big thread a few days ago, which you should all go through and read. But we need to talk about this August 31st block that came in, I want to say it was last Wednesday. So they bought 14K contracts at 81, which is 20.5 mil Vega. And it's basically a long straddle with a put. So it's basically they're buying the 7,000 put and buying the 7,900 call, meaning that basically they expect the 7,500 range to break and snap back to one side. So could it go up? Could it go down? Wow, crazy, right? But that's a lot of cash to be placed. That's not just a random trade. That's not just a random floor trade or random desk trade or whatever. 113.4 mil, 113.5. That's a lot of money. So I'll let you guys read through this. Go find the thread. But essentially, they're expecting it to break one way. And actually, when this buyer bought this, where was the VIX? It was pretty much right off the low here on Wednesday and actually popped up, which rightfully so it should. So, I mean, I've been saying for a while, when the VIX gets too low, it's scary. I kind of want to see maybe for some short setups for us to test the green line again, maybe sweep it, maybe back test it, I don't know. But I'm really worried if we get another warning shot here on my beautiful SPCX top indicator, I will probably flip more bearish, and breadth is getting overextended here. We really need some follow through, right? Because we've been explaining how the 77, 7800 area, well, it's like 7600, 7800 area, like we're gonna get a lot of slowdown here in July. We're gonna pull up the positioning in a second. This is what I mean. Sorry, right? Where we get this big slowdown towards 7800, right? I kind of think we go up higher first before down, personally. I mean, anything's possible, right? But, yeah, I'll let you guys go read through all this thread. Just go to my page and find it. We're going to talk about Mr. Gambler Spread Guy in a second. So, this is our July expiration here, okay? So, I would not be surprised, if we have, some range here going into July. I mean, this is weird here. So, 7,500, which you've kind of been struggling at for the last bit here. Market makers are long 12,000 calls here into the July expiry, but that means that someone, like the customer, is sold these calls, right? So obviously, market makers on the other side keeping it delta neutral. So clearly someone kind of wants to cap upside here. Now, the comparison here, can I see the comparison here? You can't. Okay. Yeah, okay, it doesn't work. That's fine. This is interesting here. We really have to clear this. This has been a bit of a pivot. I don't really know what to say. 7,800 dealers are short these calls, which makes sense, especially with that GEX slowdown I explained. 7,850 as well. The dealers are short calls. The upside for July, I don't think it's going to go over 8,000 personally. Even though the market technically was pretty near it in terms of hitting that 7,600 all-time high, like 400 points more to go. I mean, not expected, but there's a lot of short calls up here from market makers when the market's already technically going to mechanically slow down when we push into that. So we need to talk about going into 7,800, 7,850, 79, and 8,000. 8,000 is extremely interesting here. 34,000 calls sold, 27,000 puts from market makers for the July expiry. And there's that 7,850 minus 10K. Wow. Okay, so there's little hurdles through this whole thing to get over, and I mean the market's already just kind of been sideways for the most part, right? A little bit of chop for sure. Like it's been choppy. Maybe not, maybe sideways. It's been choppy. This is what you have. You gotta. I want to see this 7,500 position clear up if we're going to bounce about and go higher. But it's up here where we start getting trapped under like this 8,000 here, negative 34,000 calls. That's calls sold, 27,000 puts bought. That's interesting to me. And I kind of did do just a quick scan through broker dealer. Not much going on there, but I think it was firm I was looking at. Firms are kind of long these calls. Some sold calls there, but it was the pro customer that really stood out to me, where they're minus these puts, but bought some calls, minus these calls above, but minus these calls kind of all throughout this range. What are we looking at here closer? They're monetized these puts to the downside. Interesting. What about, hold on, let's go look at firm. What about firm to the downside? Super hedged calls, actually. Puts here. What the fuck are we doing, boys? Long calls to the upside for the most part, though. It's just, you know, I said this in May and June as well. It's just the positioning is just not clear, right? Like the positioning is not clear. Like minus 18,000 puts here on pro customer. It's just not like it's just not clear. Like the positioning is just not clear. Like, oh my god, that's so far off the money. I don't know. I would say like we have to clear 7,500, and I want to see this position unwound or squeeze through it. Like I want to see a proper gamma squeeze through it. But it's when you start getting around 7,800, like that makes sense to why it's so weird. Now, okay, that's July. Let's go looking at the front month. So August, this would be August AM. So this should be our big boy I was referring to in the tweet. Remember when I said the guy here with the big straddle? So this would be him. This 7,000 right here, which there's a lot of sold puts on. So market makers will be on the opposite side of this trade. Here, what we can do actually is I'll uncheck August and we'll just only see that expiry. Yeah, so this would be his puts here, which should be around 14,000. It's saying 12,000 here, but it's the position might have updated a little bit. And the 79.50 right here. So this would basically be that guy's long. So obviously the market maker is going to be on the opposite side of that. And you can just see it. This is for August 31st. It's going to break one way. And this is smack dab in the center. So it's basically like a butterfly wing where there's the middle and then there's your right wing, there's your left wing, right? That's really interesting positioning for August. So he's expecting major volatility to the upside or the downside. And I said in this tweet, how funny would it be if you hit both sides of the strangle, if we went up first and then down? Wouldn't that be crazy? So that's interesting looking at August. But let's look at the August expiry and see what we see for August. Pretty unclear, other than Mr. Spread Guy hanging out here 8,800 and 8,600, which would be this here. So this guy is down 92%. And this is his contract here, which is pretty interesting. So he's got this whole 8,800 out the money 8,600 spread here. That's why would someone be aiming that high? And it's the biggest position. I mean, you can visibly see it. Here, we can even group these here by, let's go 25. That is by far the biggest strangle. Not even close. Biggest straddle, pardon me. Why would this guy be this long for August? That's what I think is pretty interesting to me. You guys interpret that how you want. I would be mind fucking blown if we got a blow off rally into this price for August, especially with potential summer weakness coming up. But We're not going to know till the July expiry happens. I don't know. It's pretty even across the board, but it is interesting that market makers are still long these calls into September, meaning someone sold calls on the other side. But that's so far out from now. We just started a fresh quarter. This is all going to change down the road. I think we just focus on the July 17th expiry. So again, we just got to clear 7,500, start going to 7,850. But I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a minor pullback first. But I mean, you can't keep retesting this shit, right? Like the chance for a big blowout, I would say, is elevated, especially with the Korean stock market, the fucking looping and leverage ETF shit they're doing. I would stay vigilant. I'm not saying, you know, go out and buy $1,000 put tomorrow, but you're in a weird spot, man. You're in a real weird spot. It's weird that that customer is so hedged to the upside, and then we have this big straddler opening up. I don't know. It's not clear. I'm gonna have to see how this all opens up on the market for tomorrow. Like, what are we looking for tomorrow here? This is the pre-market, so we're not gonna be able to see much. But okay, let's just filter out some bullshit. Okay, let's stay between here. So let's say we open in this range. So okay, so how I'd interpret this is people are selling calls on the opposite side of this. This 7630 node for tomorrow is going to be very interesting if we try and push into it or stay below it, whatever. Now, market makers are going to be long. I guess there's a chance for some sort of Vanna mechanic to click in here. But IV is pretty high. Like, I'd be curious to see if we trade under this or push into it and sell off again. But we're not. I can't see what Gamma and Charm are gonna look like, obviously, because it's pre-market. We're not gonna know till tomorrow. And then they're selling these calls here above. But the Trump accounts do go live. I'm very curious to see what that has on the market. I think we have SK Hynix as well coming up for the NASDAQ. SpaceX stuff coming up as well, July 7th, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of weird shit going on this week. So, yeah, and then people are selling the 7,300 put. Okay, so we're probably going to trade above 7,300 tomorrow, which is pretty expected, right? I mean, we were at 7,400 last week. But we're probably going to trade within this range, if I had to guess. Now, if we open above 7,500, I would say we're probably going to trade within that 100-point range between 7,500 and 7630, right? Oh, sorry. Let's go by 5. Yeah, okay, it's still the same. I'd assume we're probably going to trade 7,500 to 7,630. That's going to be our range tomorrow, if I had to guess. Okay. I think that's all I want to talk about SPX-wise. I'm not going to skip anything else, or I'm not going to do too much here. 2-year yield, it did break out, but it's kind of coming down a bit. We'll see if this changed the rate hikes odds later for this year. DXY, it's kind of bouncing off this 20 here, but it's still fairly weak. And I really want to see continuation for it. You don't want a false breakout and then it to give up all its gains. I'll be honest, this is choppy in here. So we'll see. We'll see. Gold's about to go through a death cross here, where the 50 and the 200 cross. And historically, I find that death crosses can mark bottoms, but some of them can mark tops. I personally have seen a lot of death crosses in recent times actually mark a low, but I think it's very interesting. June 24th, trying to ban this paper trading with gold, which I'm kind of curious. Wait, did the DXY top on that day too? Let me see something here. Ho ho! Now that's something to watch. Okay, so China turns off paper trading gold. Now I explained this quite a few months ago when gold was on its parabolic rally and had that crazy flash crash. JP Morgan controls pretty much the majority of the paper swaps for gold contracts, and they can basically manipulate however they want all the time, and they just pay a little bit of a government fee, you know, when they get a little knock on the notice, a little knock on the door with a notice, and nothing happens to them. They just manipulate the price. Now, JP Morgan does have the most gold reserves in the world, and actually, I'm going to pull up a report here of central banks buying gold. Fish reported 16, actual was 244. what is this, tons? 93% of the total. So 228 was never reported. 93% of the total. Is that not fucking crazy? Is that not interesting? And I'm just thinking this whole time, what if we're just selling paper, selling paper, having this consolidate for a bit of a discount, price pulls back nearly 1,500 points, we go on the next face ripper. So we look at this too, and we can actually see that over the last 3 years, we're up 104% versus 2014, 2016, 2022, 23, and 24. Very high buying. Let's not forget how much Tether just bought at the start of the year as well, and how much they stored in their vaults. If you guys don't know how to find that, go read their financial reports they put out. It's on just tether.com or whatever. Go read it. I'm wondering if the next leg in this is ready to go. And I'll be honest, I quite think it is. Okay, so this is a little bit of an older image. But there was traders pricing in that gold was going to hit upwards of, 19 to 20,000 this year. And I'll be honest, that's a lot of strike compared to some of these other price targets here for those dates and prices, right? And I saw this at the start of the year, and I didn't think much of it. I just kind of thought, okay, like long, far out gamblers, whatever. And then I saw the news of China turning off the whole paper trading on the 24th. And then the dollar, like I just compared to, also topped out on the 24th for pulling back. Now, I've been saying for a long time that things like Bitcoin and gold usually do better with a weaker dollar. They outperform. And I actually explained in the one video how a midterm year for gold, usually you do get a little bit of a pullback, which I said we'd get a pullback in Q1. And we kind of just swept, like, I mean, call this 200-day, whatever, but I think 365-day VWAP was pretty much where we swept. I don't have it enabled here, and I'm not going to pull it up because I want to kind of blast through this. But regardless, basically came down, just swept 4,000, and now it's trying to break out. I'm like, huh. What if China now, because China has a lot of gold now. JP Morgan, the US, yes, they have probably the most. JP Morgan has the most of all central banks. But I was thinking, what if basically people who are short gold, now that we have this paper trading requirement turned off, and we have margin hikes on gold as well, meaning that you have to actually spend more dollars to trade it, which would be interesting if there was a breakout. Shorts having to post collateral could actually have to unwind, and it would cause quite a squeeze. So midterm years for gold, right? Let's go look. Usually there's some pump in quarter one before a pullback, and then it goes higher, right? It's pretty common, right? And I was right. I said quarter one we could get that pullback and push higher. Not a very uncommon pattern for gold, right? And if it's anything like 2018, probably going to bottom sometimes around July, August, and start going higher. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is the same president. So much comes back to 2018 in this market. And gold went from 1,000 to 2,000, nearly doubled in value. I'm thinking, right? Actually, looking at this too. Oh, sorry. Looking at this too, it actually just lost a 200-day, swept below, and then came up. What if China has the chance to check all the markets right now? Just check, like body check them, and say, hey guys, enough with the paper, and let's start devaluing the dollar, because the world trades on the dollar, right? Or at least majority of it. They don't have to, but majority does. I was kind of thinking to myself that if there was ever a time that aligns with why banks have been buying so much, whether there's an economic issue, an inflation issue, whatever it is, right? Most gold in the West, isn't actually delivered. 95% of it's paper, 1 to 5% is physical, right? Let's think about this, right, in our heads. And there's always that spread between physical and paper spreads, right? But central banks have been doing nothing other than to keep buying gold. This here as well, we can even just see, like, it's pretty much just been in an uptrend, right? See here in March, there was a bit of a sell-off, but overall, it's mostly just been constant accumulation. But Tether become one of the biggest gold holders here, where they've just been consistently buying through 2022, 2024, 2025, and even 2026. In quarter one, they were the biggest buyer of gold this year. Tether, yes, the stablecoin issuer, biggest buyer of gold. And we all know how I've talked about how Tether and Bitfinex, they move the market and whatnot, and they're probably some of the smartest traders and just financial institution out there. They really are. They time a lot of things perfectly. Not just gold, not just whatever. They're also one of the largest holders of U.S. Treasuries. We talked about the U.S. Treasuries had to be backed by stablecoins eventually down the road. I'm thinking, why would Tether and all these big central banks, why have they be buying so much gold? And there not be a crisis or not be inflation, not be a dollar devaluation. Like why would there be this massive trade right now for gold? Right? Why? Like that's really, really interesting to me. And I'm thinking about those long far out strikes, and I'm like, if we can shut this paper trading off and actually get like a physical demand price check on what the true price of gold is, who's to say that, you know, we can't just go through a parabolic rally? And like, what if the yields, they keep getting bad, whatever, like, you know, Japan, there's been rumors that they were gonna dump a couple trillion of gold, right? Open interest on gold, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Like, I did this wrong the first time around. SPCX here. A lot of sold calls here at the 180 strike. This thing's really got to catch a bid. Looks like our... There's definitely some people here looking for the 135 strike, but put wall here at 160. I would really want to see this try and squeeze. There's honestly not even... There's not even that much resistance in it. It's just there's not a lot of interest in SPCX. I just don't want to fall below 150. That'll get really bad. Kind of weird. I don't know. I thought this thing would do a little bit better, but it is very similar to when Tesla launched their IPO, which, speaking of which, let's go look at this. It's going to get kind of weird here trying to clear 400, I'll be honest. Like, good number of calls sold here. A lot of buyers for the 450 strike for the end of the month. So I want to see if this thing can catch a squeeze. 450 seems to be the call wall here. Gex here. Can I see this one? Yeah, I mean, it's just that 400. That's just a sticky spot. But I think if you can squeeze it, a lot of good things can come out of that for Tesla to go on a bit of a ripper. XLE, right where it should be, personally, I think. Definitely some sold calls on it, though, for 54 strike for this month. That's interesting. Interesting. A lot of puts kind of for sub 50s on it. That's actually kind of concerning, just for XLE to the downside. It's been holding fine. It kind of looks like it could go into backwardation, though, if this keeps sending lower. 55, 56 is kind of just where I think is a very flip zone spot. I think if it goes up and tests it, it doesn't break out, probably break down pretty hard. But that might be the warning shot. The XLE, the energy sector, if this can't catch a good bid and keep going, that might be the reason the tech sector pulls back. Low key. Which is weird because Microsoft and a couple of other old guards actually performed not bad this week, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, of course, chart's not going to load. Oh, wait. If I go way up. Yeah, they actually performed pretty good. So it's good the old guard kind of coming out to play, but I don't know. I don't know. AVGO is just weird. AVGO, there's a lot of sold calls here. We got to squeeze this thing like right now. If this thing's going to squeeze and this is going to unwind, that could be a crazy squeeze to the upside. But that is very, very strong, weird spot there on AVGO. This thing's got to go, or she's going to go a lot lower here, especially just down here. That's some bad gex that would make this a very unstable stock to trade. A couple other quick ones here. Let's do Moo. Moo's been a big name to talk about. A lot of people here kind of targeting downside on it still, low key. Even just looking at our gex on the right here, below 1,000, not good. Would not want to lose the 900 call or 900 gex zone. You're right in the middle of a range. Very weird. The 0DTE I did call perfectly though. I just want to... we can't get 0DTE on here, I think. Was it 9? It was 950 on Moo I called, and we bounced like right from it. There's an image in the court. Oh well, whatever, it doesn't matter. But 1200 seems to be kind of the top of the wall here. I bet you it is on here. Yeah, it is. Yep. 910 being the put wall. This thing could still have some more to drop, to be honest, especially with negative gex back here. It's concerning for the memory sector. Very concerning, but maybe SK Hynix can save it later this week. Not sure. AMD will make it our last one here. Call wall 600, put wall 470. That's... I don't know if I quite agree with that, but let's see. Is this put bought? Put bought. Yeah, put sold. Put sold. That's weird. It looks like they want to keep it above 430, though. I don't know. AMD's in a weird spot because it had about a 100-point rally almost, and then it kind of just reverted all of it within 2 days. So again, these tech names, the memory names, they got to catch a bid. They really do. I don't know. I don't know. It's very weird to see this gex and positioning on some of these stocks, but if it's gonna squeeze some of them, it's right now, like right before OPEX, get the run up going. But that overall index expiry at OPEX, that's gonna paint the photo going into August, September for that potential weakness that's gonna come. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I think that's good. Yeah. Okay. Love you guys.